we're going to watch this video, which is apparently the worst wedding vows ever. Now, I have no idea what this is, or if it's just going to irritate the shit out of me that it exists. But we're going to find out together. Jesus. Well, I just looked at what else is in my playlist because I haven't really looked out ahead. Friday's going to be a goodie. God damn it. I like this photo. I like this Michelangelo little picture here. It's good. It's a good one. Let's jump into it.
Have you ever met that someone, that special someone? Maybe chatting next to the water cooler at your job, or in the flickering light of a bar bathroom as they pull your hair out of the toilet you're throwing up in. And then
I don't know how often you're running into somebody who's just pulling you out of a public toilet that you're interested in. That seems a little fucking odd, and probably like you should second guess your life decisions as a whole.
And maybe after that meet cute, you go on a few dates, you move in together, you get a dog, you start farting in front of each other, and after a while you start thinking to yourself, you know what? This is the person I want to spend a statistically accurate $30,000 or more on a wedding with. Planning the wedding is stressful.
The fuck?
The mother-in-law...
$30,000 is statistically accurate? Like, the average wedding is 30 fucking grand? Are you out of your mind? Like, why are people spending that much on a wedding? Goddamn. So if you're looking to do a wedding, guess who's able to officiate that? This guy. Guess who's not going to charge you 30 grand? This guy.
Are engaged in combat. The caterer cancels on you at 11:59 p.m. the night before, but you know all of this will be worth it when you stand at that altar looking into the eyes of your future spouse as they proclaim in front of all of your extended family and friends their undying love for you.
You can choose whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster, strudel, or a Twinkie.
Oh, God.
The fuck? Hold on. Did he just compare her to a fucking Twinkie? This dude's entering marriage already with an ass kicking. Let's just make sure
whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster, strudel, or a Twinkie.
Oh,
oh my God. Why would you make it in your vows to be like, tonight you get to choose where I finish, but you know the rest of the time, like, that's real strange.
God damn it. So a couple's wedding vows posted by their videographer at Lens Culture on TikTok went viral recently. Now, weddings go viral all the time, whether it's a groomsman or a bridesmaid practicing their stand-up comedy routine at the reception or just a weird song choice for the ceremony, but this wedding went viral for all the wrong reasons. The video set TikTok on fire for a few days as users rushed to set up their ring lights and let the world know just how angry they were on the bride's behalf because of the groom's, creative and, unique wedding vows.
Now, as somebody who's got, like, I'm actually, like, ordained and capable of officiating weddings and officiated my brother's wedding. The fact of the matter is, your vows should have been gone over with whoever's officiating. Like, even if you're keeping your vows, like, separate from each other, the person officiating should have some sort of insight as to what's being said so that they don't say something that's going to be repetitive or off-putting. That way you understand what all's going on. So either they were okay with this as a couple getting married, or he completely blindsided everybody.
2 weeks later, I'm crawling in, leaving a trail of slime behind me to give my opinion on the situation, because everybody has been begging for it. Now let's go through this rationally and calmly, no prior judgment, and let's just see if these vows are as bad as everyone says they are.
Anything you want to say to your future bride?
I hope we have a lot.
All right. Starting off strong. There is something just a little off-putting about his demeanor. I want to believe it's just awkwardness because of the camera, but his eyes are so soulless and dead while he's talking. It's giving me serial killer vibes.
It really just makes me feel like they're forcing him to video something he didn't really want to video. So he's just giving responses that seem stereotypical to a marriage, like that when you get married so you have less sex now. And he's trying to make that into something funny. But he doesn't know how to be funny.
I just think someone should check on this woman in about 6 years, just in case. A case needs to be opened on her mysterious disappearance. So yes, needs to be opened on her mysterious disappearance. So yeah.
Oh. She's going to mysteriously disappear because she's marrying somebody who wears the Virginia battle flag, which was never actually the flag utilized by the Confederate Army. And he's a Trump supporter. Now, I understand people like to go, oh, but there are variations of it in all the different flags that the Confederate Army used. No. The problem is that it wasn't the flag used by the Confederate Army, and the Confederate Army was headquartered, like the Confederate States of, or the Confederate, what was it, the Confederated States of the United States or some shit like that? I don't remember. I don't really care what it breaks down to. It doesn't matter. The point is, their equivalent of a capital was Richmond, Virginia. The flag everybody likes to say is some symbol of hate is the Virginia battle flag. Now, as the state that was the capital, would you not expect that flag to be the flag you see? But it's not. They just have variations of it, which you could literally just make arguments of that for just about any flag you want to, really. Like, what? Oh, there's the Mexican flag. Well, it's just a variation on the Italian flag. They just put an eagle and a snake on it and have it on the side instead. Or, like, we could do this with, like, who cares? Who gives a shit? A variation doesn't make it the same thing. People really just stretch to find ways to hate people for no reason, and I'm already irritated with this video because she legitimately just slapped that in there to be like, fear for her life. And just, we don't need more things to associate people who most likely have no leaning toward being violent or aggressive toward people for no reason as that being their normal demeanor. We don't need more of it. The media does enough of it on its own. How about the rest of us just stop?
A bit awkward. No, hi honey, I love you, I'm so excited for our future together. Just straight into the physical pleasure he will be receiving from his bride in the scenic woods, alone with the cameraman. Kinda weird, but forgivable. So let's just get on with the actual vows.
You're screwed.
Since the day we started talking, after falling through my bedroom window, within minutes I could tell you were the one for me.
This man looks and sounds like he's reading a grocery list and he does not like what's on it. I know not everyone can waste years of their life in high school theater like me, but, you know, a tablespoon of conviction and sincerity wouldn't kill you. Unless you're allergic to it, I guess.
Then as time went on...
Like, that's fair, but at the same time, like, how often does he speak in front of anybody? How often does he speak in front of anybody about his emotions? The way he feels about anything at all? Legitimately. As a man, how often does he do that? He might have a position at work where he has to talk in front of people, but it's not about his feelings. So this is something that people don't take into account. Is him being a man and doing this in front of people that know him and having to be vulnerable, it's not something that we condition men to being good at in society.
And I was falling deeper in love with you. I was,
in
and
fact, it
always
typically
will be
gets
one of
punished.
the easiest people to please.
Oh, hey, look at that. I just noticed they got married on my birthday. I'm sorry.
Only two things are required to keep me happy. Keep my belly full and my balls empty.
Okay.
See, now look, the way she's laughing tells me a different story than the way people want to go about this. This tells me that their relationship has a dynamic where this kind of joke is the kind of thing that they joke about together on a more regular basis.
Keep me happy.
Watch.
Keep my belly full and my balls empty.
See, this says you're not supposed to say that part out loud, but it's funny, and that's why we're here. Okay? This isn't the face of like, oh my God, you asshole. That's the face of, God damn it, this guy. Why? Because of the fact that it's embarrassing that he's making these comments that they typically probably joke around with to each other in private, and he's decided he's going to include it in their ceremony.
Okay, here we go. So to preface all of this before we go forward and to give this more context, not only are all of their extended family and friends there, his mother is officiating, and guess what? His 2 little daughters are also in the audience. I'm sure the drive home was not an uncomfortable experience at all.
Hey, Mom.
Now see, it could be an uncomfortable experience, and you might expect it to be so. Or they've taken it upon themselves, with him being the father, to instead of being, oh no, you must be this protected, innocent little shell of a vessel of a person, said, you should be innocent, but there are things you need to understand about the world and life in general. This is what you do when you're an adult and you love somebody, and it's how babies are made. It's how you were here. Like, you don't have to be graphic about it or anything. They can understand the basics. You can make comments like this. They're going to hear it. They're probably hearing, like I said, this seems like it's something that they joke about privately on a regular basis. These kids probably hear these kinds of jokes all the time.
Why did Dad talk about his balls so much? And can you be a Twinkie tonight? I want a baby sister.
So you're amazing at half of it. We really need to get you some cooking lessons.
Okay, so that's...
See, and the way she's just like, is openly laughing hard enough that you hear her get a breath. That's another sign that this isn't nearly as bad as people are making it out to be. It's the fact that he does this in such a deadpan kind of way that you don't know how to interpret it. And like I said, it's either one, he's uncomfortable because he's being vulnerable and opening up, sharing his emotions with people that are close to him, which is something that we don't condition men to be capable of doing. It's socially awkward for men to do. It's looked down on for men to do. It's looked badly upon. In almost every situation that men do this. You made yourself vulnerable. And now you're just shit out of luck. In whatever sense you want to phrase it, that's the way it goes. So, there's that aspect. There's also the fact that he could just have a deadpan delivery and is just making sure he's just straight-faced when he's delivering these lines that he knows are inside jokes between the two of them, but he wants to do it without cracking a smile so that he can be the rock, he can be the stone. Like, he's doing something that is not as bad as people seem to be making this out to be.
Super cool. So
That's how I
he's
feel about it
saying
so far.
There's only 2 things that are needed to make him happy, and she sucks at one of those things. Sorry guys, I'm trying to do simple math. I've been out of school for a while. So that means he's not happy? Not to mention the 2 things he listed are roles that women have been historically forced to fill for their husbands due to religious, social, and legal pressures.
Oh my God. Women have been forced into just making babies and cooking food because of these reasons. It couldn't be the fact that if you really want to look into history, first of all, let's just start with biology. Men can't make a baby. Sorry, but they can't. We lack ovaries. Like, we lack the biological, physical tools to have babies. Sorry to break it to you. but it's a biological standard. You want me to call you he and you were born she, fine, whatever. I don't care. But the fact is that biologically, if you were born a man, you can't get pregnant. That's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about that to make it your body a different body. I can't take your brain and put it into a woman's body and now you have that body. That's not the way it works. So, tough shit. Guess what? Women make babies. It's not because they were forced to. It's because that's just the way it works. Cooking food. Well, let's just go back as far as we can, right? When we were living in caves. So, when you had to go and get food, you were probably almost always concerned about something eating you. Wolves, bears, lions, tigers, cougars, jaguars. Like, bobcats are a fucking danger. Coyotes are a danger. Like, people don't understand these things because you see these things out in the wild and you're like, oh, that's cute. However, I've had a moose. This thing eats grass and leaves. I've had a moose chase me up a mountain because I was in the wrong fucking area of that mountain at the wrong time of year. It was mating season, and I was in his territory, and he decided that I needed to be driven out of there so he could bang it out with some female moose, some cows, and have some babies. Guess what? That's not even a predator, and I ran for my fucking life because it could kill me easily. Now, as cavemen, we had to fight these things with sticks. Okay? Maybe we took something and tied rock to the stick. Maybe we sharpened up the rock and we had a little spearhead. But we were fighting with sharpened sticks and rocks. Which means if I can't poke you with the stick, then I'm gonna die. So, do you want the women who have babies and carry babies inside of them to have to go out and do this physical labor, which today we know is medically difficult? It puts the mother and the child both at risk when they reach certain levels of exertion. Like when a pregnant mother reaches certain levels of exertion, it puts both lives at risk. So, who do you think should have to go out and get this food when the women can get pregnant? May be pregnant. Well, the men are going to do it. Right? If a woman has a baby and then is the only thing capable of producing food for it by lactating, do you risk women dying so that babies die, so that the species dies, or do the men go do the dangerous thing? Because we can just blow a load multiple times a day and make babies. But you can't just produce babies on top of babies on top of babies. The risk is too high health-wise. Like, your own personal health is at risk if you do this. The babies, once again, are at risk. And 3, you have a certain gestation period, like 9-10 months of that baby, assuming everything goes according to plan in a natural birth. So, this isn't that people forced this. This isn't like a societal forcing upon women that they cook food. It was that someone needed to cook, and the men were out doing the dangerous shit, and then came home, and they'd already done their part of providing food, because really at that point in time it was protection, food, water, and that was all you really needed. So the man went and did the dangerous shit, which meant having to fight animals for food, and came home. Now the women would forage for food. The men probably did some foraging as well, but we know that the women did foraging for food because why? Because we need to eat. And maybe you don't come back successfully from hunting anything. But at the same time, it's not strenuous. You're not having to lift a heavy-ass animal. I don't know if you realize this, but in Colorado alone, your average elk is like 300, 400 pounds. And that goes for cows and bulls. If you only look at bulls, that average goes up a couple hundred. And that's just elk. Moose are much bigger. Deer are smaller. But you still have to carry that animal. Now, when you're pregnant, they tell you not to lift more than, what, like 50 pounds or something like that? Well, what are you going to do as a pregnant woman who now has killed a deer and you're supposed to fucking get this thing back to your tribe or your group? You going to pick that animal up and carry it over there? Or are you going to walk all the way back and have a man come and do it, or a not pregnant lady come and do it? Because all of a sudden you're doing it. It's like, see, it doesn't make sense to add in extra work and put health and life of the mother and the baby at risk in that situation. It just simply doesn't make sense. It's not a societal structure. Like, it's perceived as one because since the dawn of man, men have been doing the dangerous thing to provide for family and community, and women have done the safer things to provide for family and community. It's not that there's some sort of, oh, well, you must. It's just that it's ingrained into our DNA at this point. Men don't get satisfaction from working this job and making a bunch of money if they also don't have a relationship. It's statistically proven that, in general, most men are only satisfied when they have a successful relationship and family. We don't need all the rest of the shit. All the bells and whistles are nice. It just means that we've provided better for that family. But men who have that ability and no family, according to statistics, tend to feel more alone, more lonely, and less like they have a purpose, which is far more important as a human being for you to have purpose than pretty much anything. So, I really hate this argument. I hate that feminists use it all the fucking time. I hate how it's interpreted as some terrible, evil thing. Oh my God, women aren't doing dangerous things. Like, sweetheart, I promise you, just because men do it and you may be capable of doing it doesn't mean that it's glorious to be doing.
So, that's pretty great. He couldn't say, I don't know, your passion for unicycling makes me really happy too, or something.
Even when my belly isn't full, there is no one I could ever love more in this lifetime.
Okay, we're back on track. We made it. Just normal, not creepy wedding vows from here on out. Okay, great, let's go.
No, he's making sex jokes.
I actually get a chance to meet Margot Robbie.
No, why would you say that? Why would those words come out of your mouth in that order? Let me very quickly clarify something. Okay? My partner and I joke about banging random celebrities all the time. We couldn't even get through the lighthouse without debating about the scenario of being vertically sandwiched between Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, and who in that scenario we would take from the front and who we'd take from the back. Which, by the way, the answer is Pattinson in front, Dafoe in the back. And if you don't know why, you should look up a picture of Willem Dafoe's. But this is your wedding day, dude. Probably one of the most special days of your life. And you open your vows by joking, but not really joking, that you would leave your wife for Margot Robbie?
Okay. You just went through this whole explanation about how you and your partner make these jokes together all the time. But then when he makes this joke in his vows, he's joking, but not joking. But do you know? Do you know? Because the fact is, I don't. I can't tell if he's joking or not. Which is what you get from somebody who has a deadpan delivery, which he has. You don't know if he's joking or not, which is why I reference the way that the spouse looks, the way that the wife looks. She is laughing. She looks embarrassed about the way he's doing this, but she is laughing, which tells me that these are jokes that they tell all the time, and that she's not bothered by it, and you're making it into something.
Hear me out, hear me out. This is why this joke sucks. It's because when people make this joke framed in this way, the joke isn't, ha ha babe, I would never leave you for Margot Robbie because I love you so much. What the joke actually is, ha ha babe, I would never leave you for Margot Robbie because she would never give me the chance. I mean, if she did give me the chance, I would totally take it. She's so hot and she's probably better at cooking than you.
Once again, that is how you would tell a joke. You and him are not the same. Now look at her face right here. Does that look like someone who's upset by what was just said? Does that look like a woman who's like, oh my god, I can't believe that I told this dude I'd fucking marry him and now this is what he's saying? Or does she look like somebody who's used to this? This is the way that they banter and talk amongst each other regularly. And she's kind of just like, God damn, how did I not see this coming? Because that's my take.
Beginning, I always told you.
Oh, nice. He can't even read his own vows correctly. I wonder if it's because he jotted them down on the back of a Texas Roadhouse napkin and hasn't looked at them since.
I wonder how many times you've had to cut and clip what you're doing to edit it to get the right words to come out of your mouth correctly, because you never misspeak, right? Especially when you're speaking in front of everyone who knows you. All of your friends, all of your family. Once again, being vulnerable as a man. Is anybody surprised he stumbles over a word or two? For fuck's sake.
I was going to make you the happiest woman in the world and give you everything I could possibly give. Well, today I'm taking it a step further and giving you my last name. The last name of champions.
Notice how even when he isn't actively making fun of her, his language is still very self-centered. It's about what he's giving to her and how lucky she is to have him. I'm going to make you the happiest woman in the world. Give you everything I can possibly give.
This isn't him making it self-centered. This is what vows are, you ridiculous twit. It's you making promises of what you're going to provide and do for your spouse. These promises that he's making to her come from a tradition of not making the promises to her at all. You are making them to her father. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure that I give her the best life possible. I'm going to make sure that I give her this and this and that. I'm going to make sure she never goes hungry, that she's never having to sleep in a cold house, that it's always comfortable. I'm going to make sure that she has always got food, that she's able to have available to prepare and feed herself. I'm going to always make sure that she doesn't have to worry about X, Y, and Z. It was a promise to the father that you were responsible and promising to him that you were going to take care of his little girl. Where the fuck does she think vows come from, and how does she think these are supposed to go? Oh my God, babe, I love you so much. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and I can't wait till we're done getting married and we get to spend our life together. That's not how it works. Even if you just look at traditional vows, you're making a promise to the other person of what you will do for them, of the terms of your relationship and how it will go through your effort, what you're going to provide. It's not really that complicated to grasp, I don't think, unless you're a moron.
I'm even so generous, I'm giving you my super awesome...
Oh, yeah, she's about to go on to the last name thing, but if you listen to the way he said it, I'm going to give you my last name, the last name of champions. Now, does that sound like he's like, oh, yeah, I'm giving you a last name, though, and my last name's full of champions over here, or does it sound like he's kind of being self-deprecating just a little bit because of that deadpan delivery he has?
last name, which, If you didn't hear, it's the last name of champions.
God, that's so cringe!
No one deserves it more. With you and the girls by my side, I feel like I can conquer anything. Y'all make life worth living, giving every breath of every day a purpose. Life gets even better when the kids fall asleep and you tell me to come to the bedroom. Nothing's better than the sound of gagging and headboard slamming.
Michael.
Everyone keep...
See? Oh, no. See, that's great.
Nothing's better than the
This
sound
is what
of
makes it
gagging
great
and
right here.
headboard
Is like,
slamming.
look, she's like, you've gone a step too far, and now his wife is like, you fucking idiot, shut up. Now she's reached a point of embarrassed, but if you watch, still laughing. Not embarrassed laughter, still just like, oh my God, why are you saying these parts out loud? It's not like disgruntled, upset embarrassment. It's genuine, oh fuck, I didn't want everybody to know about that, embarrassment.
Michael.
Everyone keeps
See?
telling me that marriage is going to ruin a lot of things.
So, not only does he bring up again, for what, like the third, fourth, fifth time now, apparently it's the only thing she does that he values, remember? In front of that entire...
Jesus fucking Christ. Because they don't have more conversations outside of the vows where he has made it perfectly clear how he feels about her. And I'm sure you're about to complain about the fact that he just pointed out that having her and the girls in his life makes him a better man. Congratulations. The right person will complete a man.
audience, his mother, their families, his children, he describes in this weird, dispassionate tone, using very crude language, the type of acts that he likes to perform on his bride. Now let me remind the people in the comments that I know are gonna be like, oh my god, you are so sensitive. It's obviously a joke. It's very clear from their reactions of the mom and the bride that nobody knew his vows were gonna be anything like this.
Once again, the mother officiating dropped the fucking ball. She's supposed to go through this. Either she dropped the ball or he blindsided everybody. Presented a completely different set of vows, and then read this instead. And then also you have to realize there is a fucking wedding rehearsal where you go through and you rehearse doing stuff. Now, I don't know if they actually said their vows at the rehearsal. A lot of people do. The thing is, you don't have to. You can just do an abbreviated one where you go, all right, and then you would say your vows, and you would say your vows, and then we go on to the next thing. And you should be rehearsing that. A lot of people will take that rehearsal time to also rehearse the vows they're about to say. So, did he just blindside everybody? Did you guys not rehearse vows? Did you guys not review vows? Did you not, like, the fuck? And the fact that you're so upset about this is like, it's literally, they're like, okay, too far, too far, too far. But at the same time, congratulations. That is what you get with a deadpan delivery of comedy. That's just the way it works.
Throwing a bunch of very explicit and degrading humor into his wedding vows without any warning, he's essentially created a captive audience that is forced to laugh at his unfunny jokes out of politeness. Even if the wedding party or some of the guests did feel uncomfortable, it's not like they can say anything. They just make the situation worse and cause a scene.
Are you retarded? Fuck! Does anybody have any objections? What the fuck is that entire portion of a wedding ceremony other than everybody being given fair chance and fair play to be like, look here, motherfucker, no, that's the way you talk about my daughter, that's the way you talk about my friend, that's the way you talk about my sister, that's the way you talk about my grandkid. What the hell do you think this is? It's like she's never seen a wedding but has this idea of the way that your vows are supposed to be that's completely based on Disney. It's ridiculous at this point.
You don't want want to be the jackass in the audience that stands up in the middle of the ceremony and is like, hey, that's not very nice. The bride looks
But let's
especially
also rip on him
embarrassed
for
at this point
stumbling
because
over a
for some
word
time
in this
she's being
incredibly
whirled
stressful,
around as a cheap joke with
uncomfortable
no punchline
scenario.
2 feet away from her mother-in-law. What's so upsetting is these jokes could have been hilarious at a small reception with just their friends, but instead he drops all of this right in the middle of the official recorded ceremony.
Once again, that's fine. It doesn't matter if he does it at the ceremony. It's the delivery. You're upset because of the deadpan delivery. I guarantee you if this guy said this stuff with a different comedic style that was more jovial and obviously a joke, you wouldn't feel the same way. It's the deadpan delivery. Because you keep complaining about the way that he looks, the way that he says it. It's completely the deadpan delivery and overreacting. And I'm just going to believe that the whole way through the whole video, and for anybody that wants to bitch about it at this point, because I am convinced that's all it is. You're all a bunch of lame asses who don't actually understand, watch, or view comedy outside of major specials. You're not real comedy fans. You're fans of some comedy. It's not the same thing. It doesn't make you bad. It's just a different level of fandom. The thing is if you're a true fan of comedy, you'd be like, I just don't know if he knows what he's doing because he's not a comedian, but he's trying to be funny, but it's also deadpan humor, which isn't an easy form of humor to pull off. So it pissed off most people. Deadpan humor does that all the time.
Hey, grandkiddos, you want to watch me and your Meemaw get married? Oh, look at us. We're so young and beautiful. Oh, this is the part where I talk about...
Did her grandparents show her videos of them getting married? Because I don't think I've ever watched anybody's fucking wedding video.
Even if we fight, argue, or don't see eye to eye on something, it'll never affect the way I love you. Marriage is something I take seriously and I only want to do once. After almost 10 years, I still stand by the fact that you're my soulmate and it'll never change. After today, the only thing changing is me having to deal with the ring on my finger. You will forever have my heart, and that's a promise till death do we part.
Okay, once again, we are back to normal wedding vows that don't involve gagging or headboard slamming.
P.S. Since you're so good at making decisions like marrying me, you can choose whether tonight's going to end with being a toaster strudel or a Twinkie.
See, then he broke. He was like, okay, I can't hold it anymore. I made it through the whole thing. Just don't laugh. Just don't laugh. Just don't laugh. That's what that is right there. That is the smile of, just don't laugh. I know I found the line, and I kind of did some hopping across it here and there. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. That's all that is.
When I voiced Prime for...
And I'm sure she's going to have some sort of ridiculous type of shit she's going to say about it, but I'm positive that that's all that smile is.
I hate how satisfied he looks with himself.
As I said, that wasn't like satisfied. Like the satisfaction is the fact that he made it through that whole thing without cracking. That is the only reason he's satisfied right now, is he made it through that entire thing without cracking. Even with his mom, Michael, and his wife, like, I'm going to hit you. Like, his satisfaction is the fact he actually got through it without cracking. He wanted to do that with a deadpan delivery because he thinks that's how you should do comedy. Got it. No problem. He's not a fucking comic. He's not going to have the best delivery. I doubt that he rehearsed this at all. He's not going to have the best delivery. He's going to stumble. And apparently make the internet mad because nobody understands deadpan humor or how to read body language at all. Like, there was a certain point where his mom was like, you crossed the line, and his wife was like, you crossed the fucking line, and then there were plenty of other points where it was just like, oh my god, I can't believe you're letting everybody know about this, I'm so embarrassed, but it's funny. Okay? Congratulations on the whole thing going over your head and just arbitrarily finding reasons to be upset because God forbid that you don't. and I should have known that this was going to happen with how you just inserted a fucking rebel flag and a goddamn Trump hat to slam him anyways, right? Like, come on.
After stealing that joke off of iFunny, it's just, once again, he just can't stop talking about sex. It's like he's 14 years old or something. Now I hear you, my children, I hear your rabble cry.
Oh, you don't
Yes,
have children.
Maybe this is just their sense of humor. Maybe when it's her turn to do the vows, she'll also compare him to other men and degrade his abilities to do traditionally masculine things. It's just their sense of humor, right? Let's see.
No, see, that's his sense of humor. That's his sense of humor. Her sense of humor will be vastly different because she's not the same fucking person. She finds other things funny. Oh no. And she probably, similarly to you, has this idea in her head of a perfect wedding that she would like to have. And that's what she's going to try and do, because weddings are a focus for women. Men don't really think about them. Men don't really focus on them. It's not something we plan out when we're 10.
My knight in shining armor, my best friend, my biggest pain in the ass.
Okay, nice. She kind of got him. Okay.
Yeah, I bet you she wasn't willing to take the risks he did. Because, once again, I should have said this too. As a woman, she doesn't understand what it takes to be funny. And I don't mean you have to be rude or dismissive and cross the line the way that he was crossing the line. What I mean is men have to compete with now the entire world to get a woman's attention. Even when we only had to compete with like the 5 other people in the village, we had to compete for your attention. How are you going to do that? You're either going to be very athletic and strong and physically capable and just endowed with good genes to be physically attractive, or you're going to be funny. Now, most men go with being funny because it's something you can all learn how to do. But women don't have to do that. Now, some women are extremely funny. Taylor Tomlinson is one of my favorite comedians to watch. The thing is, they're not as common. It's just not as commonly developed a skill for women to have good humor. It's just not, because you've never had to develop it.
Okay, great. Give us a little bit more, honey. All right, give us a little bit.
Not to mention the fact, I don't know how women joke around with each other in their little circles, because I'm not one. But as far as men ribbing each other and giving each other shit goes, those vows were light. That was him being respectful and trying to play with the line but not go too far past it. The thing is, he understands that the line is here, and he kind of went over here a couple times, right? She's going to assume the line is here and not here, and he kind of discovered that it's right here because he was willing to pass it and go, okay, too much. She's not going to want to pass it because she doesn't understand how to find that line because, once again, it's not a skill women have to develop. If you don't have to develop this skill, you're just not going to take the risks that other people who do develop that skill will take.
A little bit more.
Our venture started a little shy of 10 years ago, and in that 10 years, we have already accomplished so much together and created a beautiful life. When I met you in school, I started crushing on you, but I didn't dare let it be known because I thought you were too good for me.
Oh, no, honey. Oh, no, honey, no. I'm gonna flip a coin and say there's a good 50-50 chance that he is not and never was too good for you. This is a dollar bill. Your lack of self-esteem has blinded you, and I am already so incredibly sad.
So
I disagree. So you find somebody and you don't think that you're worthy of them, and you will lift yourself to become worthy of them. You don't have to be like, well, I'm not worthy of them, and just hide away forever. You can go, I'm not worthy of them, and just kind of stay in the shadows and build yourself up.
Apparently, she's never done this.
Let it go. If they say if you truly love someone or something, let it go. And if it comes back to you, then it was meant to be.
And boy, did he come back like a boomerang to the skull on a hot summer's day.
Here you are standing in front of me on our wedding day. I'm more than thankful for every day with you. You have completely stolen my heart, and I honestly never want you to give it back.
Notice that while he delivered his...
See, before she says anything, I just want to point out the fact that as a woman, more accepted, expected, and encouraged is the word, for women to be emotionally vulnerable. So what do you get out of her vows? Emotional vulnerability. Tears. Right? You don't get that out of him because that's not something men are taught to do. And we're not taught to do it because of morons like this that go out and make ridiculous statements from a point of complete misunderstanding and not even an effort to put yourself in his shoes to understand how the hell that's working out or why he's saying the things he's saying, why he thought that would be all right. Zero thought or effort on that. Just fuck him. He's terrible. Guess what? If he was emotionally vulnerable, you would sit back and go, oh, how sweet. Too bad she's marrying a guy who's not going to go very far because he's not assertive enough. So he's not going to get selected to become CEO or member of the board, whatever the hell it is. You're going to see it as something that holds him back.
His vows in a bored monotone, she can barely hold back tears. That's great. I'm still waiting for the roast, right? Like he got you. It's your turn now. Where are the jokes?
Like I said, more of a man thing to do than a woman thing to do. You put a man under stress, he's going to make jokes to get himself to the end of it because it's what we've had to do forever. How do you get to the end of it? Well, you can either laugh or cry. So if I need to make myself laugh to get through this, I'm going to make myself laugh. That means I'm going to talk shit. Guess what? It works. Women, not how they do it. They embrace their emotions. They share their emotions. And they share their vulnerability. That's what you're getting. You're literally getting the opposites of the way that a man's mind works and a woman's mind works by the way that the man gave his vows and the woman is giving hers. And it's not due to societal structures. It's due to the way that we're raised, as well as just genetic history. There are certain things that have been so ingrained into the human genome because of how long we had to do it. Tens of thousands of years of doing something, and then within the last 100 years, women being treated more equal, women being able to work more dangerous jobs, women being seen as being capable of doing more physical things. Congratulations. That's literally within the last 100 years, and you want to just somehow erase all of biological, genetic evolution and growth to just fit into this fucking narrative. It's not going to happen. Congratulations, ladies. You need a few more millennia.
You are one of the most selfless, funniest, caring people I have ever met, not to mention very accident prone.
Okay.
Hold on.
Caring people.
Now where are the jokes?
You are one of the most selfless, funniest, caring people I have ever...
One of the most selfless, funniest, caring people I have ever met. Guess what that means? That means she understood all of his deadpan humor and all of his jokes exactly the way he intended for them to be received, which is something you have failed to do entirely, and instead are trying to impose some sort of bullshit on him and some sort of, oh, darling, I feel so sorry for you on her. Neither of which is deserved, because you don't understand the dynamics of their relationship, which she's clearly understanding of, as it's her fucking husband.
Ever met, not to mention very accident prone.
Okay, accident prone. Is there a traditionally masculine task that you can degrade him for not performing to your standard?
Oh my God, you're not gonna go and sink down to his level? It's probably because she knows she's not as good at shit-talking as him. Because he has a lifetime of developing a skill of shit-talking that she hasn't had any time to develop in contrast. So she doesn't want to enter that battle. Not only that, maybe that's just not the way she goes about it, is thinking of these ways to just combat his humor rather than laughing at his humor and delivering her own vows, her own promises, instead of turning their vows into a fucking battle, like a little comedy back and forth, wild and out roast battle thing. Instead, he delivered the vows in a way that suits his personality, using jokes that they joke around about in a regular way, in a deadpan style humor that he probably uses for all of his humor. Hers is more emotive, vulnerable, because that's more of her personality. So you want her to be more like him to make you feel better about the whole thing. Make this make sense.
Is there a more attractive man that you can compare him to? Can you objectify him a little bit? Let's balance the scales a little bit, okay?
We've created two of the most beautiful girls in this world together. We bought our first house. We've made it through the rough times and the good times. And since I have you, I know we will always make it through. Thank you for choosing me to create your life with.
Did you catch that? Remember how I mentioned earlier the very self-centered language the groom used in his vows? Let's say,
Dion, hand it over. Now, how does that make you feel?
Like a part of me is missing.
Today I'm taking a step further and giving you my last name, the last name of champions.
So you only clipped the end of it to once again support your narrative. I don't care enough to go back to the actual portion where he went through the whole thing. I'm just going to reiterate the fact that his entire self-centered vows was him making promises of what he was going to provide for her. This isn't him being like, oh, look at me, I'm a successful business and entrepreneur and I'm doing all these things with money and possessions and building a life. And now you get my name too. It was him saying, I promise I'm going to make sure these things are secure. You don't have to worry about it. I have that burden. Like, why the fuck is that wrong? He didn't say you don't have to work. He didn't say stay at home forever and cook my food. He just threw in the trope. Like, your vows aren't you making demands of your spouse. Everything that he'd said that she's trying to make as some sort of demand or some demeaning thing is him making a joke. That she just clearly doesn't know how to take one, and then blows it out of proportion. She has no idea what your wedding vows are supposed to even fucking be. She's actually just annoying the shit out of me.
Notice her vows. I thought you were too good for me. We accomplished all of these things together. Thank you for choosing me. All of her language is
emotionally vulnerable. Everything she said is emotionally vulnerable. She's being emotionally open and vulnerable. You're overcomplicating this shit with, it's about him, it's about him, it's about him, and everything he said was about himself. No, it wasn't. It was about him giving and providing for her and their kids. That's not him focusing on him. That's him focusing on what it is he's committing his entire life to doing for them. Congratulations. Hers is more of a, well, I'm so happy I get to marry you because I cared about you since then. I didn't feel like I was good enough for you. I didn't feel this way. I didn't feel that way. But now here we are. See how I can spin what she said to sound really self-centered? Instead, I don't think that that's how it is, because context matters. His context was, I'm going to provide these things for you and our girls. And here are some jokes to get me through this stressful, fucking moment with my deadpan humor, which you love, as you said that I am the funniest person you know. You think I am the funniest man you know. So, you understand my humor and laugh at it. Right? But you just breeze right past that like it didn't matter. Not only that, but then you spin everything she said to be about him in some positive way because you can't look past surface level value words. She uses the word you, he uses the word I. But he also uses the word you, and she also uses the word I. But because of where they put it in the sentence, you try to make it about something else because you ignore context. This is like listening to a grade schooler bitch about how hard life is because they didn't get macaroni and cheese with the right fucking cheese. God damn you. I only eat the orange one and you gave me white macaroni and cheese. How dare you? That's basically what this is. I wanted strawberry milk and you gave me chocolate. Ah! Like, fuck off.
Is addressed in either a thankful way towards him or in a positive way about them together as a couple, while all of his vows were boosting himself up.
I know I'm no model.
She still didn't go back and, reinforce that with anything.
Oh no, I know I'm no model. Have you seen him? He's no Ryan Gosling. This is why the Margot Robbie...
She doesn't have to think she's a model, you moron. Congratulations. He didn't say that he was either. So why are you going on about this shit about how he looks when he didn't say he was so physically attractive either? It's not like he boosted himself up like that. The best compliment he gave himself was that he has the last name of Champions. And it sounded really backhanded as far as like compliments go. It didn't sound like he was really complimenting himself very much the way that he said it. So, the fuck are you talking about?
Robbie joke was not funny contextually and was not okay.
To you, because you don't understand his humor or his comedy, and you've understood zero context the entire time.
This woman clearly has really low self-esteem. You don't joke
like most people
about leaving your wife for another more attractive woman if you know she has body image issues, and you definitely don't do it in front of everyone she cares about.
By far not a good cook unless you want soggy meatloaf.
Soggy meatloaf, huh? That sounds really specific. Almost as...
Yeah, it sounds like she probably cooked meatloaf wrong, because it really shouldn't be like soggy like that at all. And she wasn't happy about it either. But I'm sure you're going to say that he degraded her and beat her down over this. And maybe he did, but we don't know. But you're going to come to a conclusion, right?
As if there were a specific night where she took the time to make meatloaf for you and you complained about it.
And as we all...
Oh, so he complained about it while she's laughing about this. As if they were both like, well, that didn't work out so well, did it? Like, the thing is, the way she says it is like these are references to jokes and she's going with it. Like, she knew he was going to make a comment about food. So she brought up the meatloaf that they probably had fairly recently that didn't turn out so great. And that she had stated during that dinner didn't turn out so great. That's the way that her delivery looks. You see, context is more than words. It's body language as well. But apparently, you don't understand context outside of how you want to perceive the discussion and the topic. People are complaining about this video, or about these vows, so you made a video to complain about them with everybody because you can't stand being disliked. That's the persona that you give off. Congratulations. Deadpan humor. Easy target, especially when it's coming from a white man, right? That'd be why you made sure you inserted a fucking rebel flag and Trump hat to make your comments about how she's going to disappear in a forest. What context did you have that based on? The one in your head?
Oh no, I'm the real Sleeping Beauty with a temper. But thank you for loving me still.
Oh, a real Sleeping Beauty with a temper. So she acknowledges she has a temper too, which it was evident when she was like, I'm going to fucking hit you, right? Granted, refers to herself as a Sleeping Beauty. So she sleeps a lot, but she does know she's beautiful. She just doesn't think that she's at the top, like, 1% of whatever it is that she thinks defines beauty. Being a model, right? Do you think that you're the perfect just peak of human fitness and physical attractiveness? Or do you think you might have some space to go? Because you could feel like you're not good enough to be a model, but that you're still attractive. It's not like these things are completely unrelated and can't be together at the same time. What the fuck?
Still, the way you do. You are literally making the fairy tale I always dreamed of come true. Well, maybe a little more funnier than I imagined.
Yeah, this does really seem like a fairy tale. I remember when Prince Charming kissed Snow White, breaking the spell, and then rode off into the sunset with Margot Robbie ever after.
But it's...
The fact that she stated that her and her partner not only joke about who they would leave each other for in terms of celebrities, but then also how they've had a very specific discussion about two celebrities being sandwiching them, and who gets the front and who gets the back, and the reason why. But cannot let go of the fact that this man inserted a fucking deadpan joke about Margot Robbie, and she cannot let it go. Ridiculous.
Still way more than I could ever ask for. I will forever want you rocking beside me when we're old, talking about our day, making jokes, recalling memories. If you could leave out the passing gas, though, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Okay, so farting, you really got him. You really got him there. Now y'all are totally even.
Thank you, Dum Dum, for highlighting my point about the fact that men grow up having to find ways to be funny, successfully funny, like being funny enough to make strangers laugh at you. And women do not. She doesn't know where the line is to push the jokes to it, let alone across it the way he did. And because of the fact that she's never had to do so, she also is afraid of crossing it. She doesn't understand how it works. Most women assume that if you cross the line, there's no coming back. Because they've never had to cross it and go, fuck, too far, hit the brakes, I'm going backwards, okay, we're safe again. They've never had to do that. And if you've never had to do that in real time, you're going to be terrified of it. You're going to play it safe unless you're real comfortable. And I find that women tend to have a harder time becoming comfortable with doing that because they experience it less often. The odds of women experiencing that difficulty are just much lower, so they're less often capable of pushing that line. It's all it is.
I love you so much, Michael John Lentini, and I promise to choose you every day for the rest of my life and beyond that.
Okay, it's over. Yeah, so this situation's just kind of sad.
I disagree. I think the only sad thing about this is the fact that he called his pasta name the name of champions. Lentini? That sounds like it belongs on a box of pasta that you're buying from the store that's just dry noodles. That's really it. Everything else is just, this lady clearly has zero idea of how to read context, hates the fact that he has deadpan humor because she can't fucking grasp it as humor because she's got to be outraged about the situation, and just upset with the fact that he made comments she doesn't think are funny, whereas the woman he's marrying was laughing at them. And I would strongly argue that in any situation like this, the opinion of random idiot on the internet who's upset because vows aren't what I want my husband to say to me when we get married mean way fucking less than the woman you're marrying. So why the fuck is anybody siding with this chick? I'm reading comments after this just to see, too. Because this is driving me nuts.
To all of the backlash on TikTok, and this is what she had to say.
Oh, thank God.
I'm a bride, and no, this isn't a red flag. We have been together for 10 years now, and decided to get married right before our 10th year. This comment received 4,922 comments in response. None of which, I'm gonna tell you right now, is going to change her perception of her husband at all. Why?
Because it doesn't matter how many comments you have from random fucking strangers on the internet, which isn't a real place you can go visit, about the person she's married to and has spent a decade with. That's why none of that matters. It's quite obvious, really.
Why, you may ask? Well, think about a relationship that you're in right now. Would you throw that relationship away just because a few thousand strangers on TikTok told you to? Probably not. This isn't Reddit. If the popular assessment of this video is correct, then yes, the groom is an emotionally abusive douchebag who has been tearing down his bride-to-be's self-confidence for 10 years to the point where he felt comfortable degrading her on one of the most special days of her life. That sort of confidence means that she's probably been truly conditioned to view this behavior as normal, and
which is very possibly true. But once again, we do not know. At all. Nobody. Not her, not me, not anybody who comes across this, and not any one of the thousands of people responding to her on TikTok as if it matters where the fuck you tell her at, as a stranger who doesn't need to know. The fact is, we have zero context. We have zero insight. We're not part of this in any way, shape, or form. And the only way that you can make that argument is by just connecting dots in a specific way to say that that's what it is, to ignore everything I said where that's not what's going on, which doesn't mean that I'm right. I just choose to not assume everybody is treating everyone else like shit at all times. Choosing to believe that that is the way everybody is interacting with each other is legitimately a choice, and it is a choice being pushed upon us by people with this victim mentality and victim mindset of, oh my God, I'm so terrible, my life sucks, oh my God, I can't believe you're not outraged by whatever, and it's dumb and needs to come to an end. This shit's out of control. You don't have any reason whatsoever to assume that he is being emotionally abusive other than trying to somehow involve yourself in their relationship, which is none of your damn business. Congratulations. You saw them doing their vows on the internet and decided he's abusive emotionally. Maybe he is. Guess what? Nobody's perfect. Guess what else? Maybe he's emotionally abusive minimally, because no one's perfect. So maybe his whole personality is this big, and only to about here is the amount of time he's actually emotionally abusive, and the rest of that space is perfectly fine. We don't know. Everybody who wants to jump to that kind of conclusion is just choosing to jump to the conclusion of abuse because God forbid that these two people are fucking happy with each other when we're all so lonely. Fucking lame asses.
She's going to continue to defend that behavior unless through some moment of personal clarity or through the intervention of the people in her life, she changes her mind. At the end of the day, that's her journey to take. not ours. So, the moment you've all been waiting for, what's my assessment of the video? Look, the groom's vows were awkward at best and hateful at worst. But whether this video indicates other abusive behaviors or this was all just a badly timed, inconsiderate attempt at some X-rated comedy, we can't really know that. This is just a tiny clip of their lives, but it is an important one, and it's easy to see.
I'm really irritated that she just tried to go through this whole, oh, well, we can't know that. We don't know that. Meanwhile, if she goes missing in the mountains one day, we don't have to look very far. Let's insert some fucking images. Hey, everything he does is terrible. Hey, why aren't you taking jabs at your husband the way that I think you should because he took terrible deadpan jabs at you? Like, congratulations, you have no idea how men interact or talk to each other because, that was really light. Everything he said was very lightweight. Does that mean it's not abusive? Not at all. Does not mean that one bit. It just means he could have been way worse about that. I've heard men give their best friends far more shit than that and laugh about it immediately afterwards. And in the same kind of deadpan delivery into an entire group of the rest of their friends for 10 minutes straight and then laugh about it and give each other a hug. Because that's the kind of relationship that we have with each other. It's how we talk to each other. Now, if those two love each other enough, and he's vulnerable enough with her, he probably shares some of that with her to some extent. Guess what? When you're ribbing on people and you're making jokes, they're typically going to come across as some form of abusive and some form of ignorant or offensive, right? They're going to come off as offensive and they're going to come off as personal. Because guess what? That's how jokes work.
See why people saw a lot of red flags. My partner and I roast each other constantly. The difference is, it's always fair. I punch you, you punch me, we're a happy family, but we don't do it in a situation where the other person...
And like I said, we don't even know that they rehearsed these vows. They may have written their vows independently, not shared them with each other, and wanted the vows to be a surprise. This is an option that people take. She may not have known he was going to go that hard. Just expected a couple jokes about food. And that was it. It seemed to be about the only thing she was ready for was food and not being a supermodel, but still being Sleeping Beauty. Right? Like, she's saying she's attractive, but she knows she's not, like, the most attractive. And you're blowing that out of proportion as well. I think everybody's reading way too far into this.
Person might feel vulnerable or embarrassed. We do it alone, or we do it in a group of close, trusted friends. My assessment of the situation...
Which says to me that you're very embarrassed about the way that you treat each other. Right? You're very embarrassed about the way you treat each other. That's why you only do it in private.
Situation is the reason people hated this video so much is because it just wasn't fair. It was very one-sided and it was done in a very public, formal environment. Be nice to your partner. Don't embarrass them publicly, but also don't get a hemorrhoid over this video. It's not worth it. Okay, and we are done. I don't want to make another video on a wedding ever again. Oh my God!
Yeah, I think you just fucking gave yourself a hemorrhoid over the video because you couldn't possibly put shit into context. Think about the fact that they probably didn't even listen to each other's vows or rehearse them at all, and you were hell-bent on finding ways to make him come out as being a shitty person so that you could support that idea. Like I said, everybody's going off on red flags and abuse, and you only framed it in that possible way. I didn't even know what this video was. I've never seen any of the things about this video. I've never seen either of those vows. I don't watch that shit. If it came across my TikTok, I would have been like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, and moved on. I wouldn't have watched it. So I have no idea the way people responded to it, but because of the way people are on the internet, I know that that's what it is. The fact that she confirmed it later, I was right, and the fact that she just went through catering, making people who feel that way feel welcome in her video space here on her channel, says a whole lot to me about how willing you are to actually objectively look at the situation from multiple angles rather than, I think he's abusive too. Right? So let's see here. I don't care if she says she's okay with it. The fact their daughters were exposed to this kind of language and likely hear it daily is so gross and unsettling. I mean, I understand, but the thing is, just like with schools, right? Should they teach sex ed in schools? Some people think they should. Some people think they shouldn't. Some people think K through 12 you should be learning about sex ed. Some people think you shouldn't learn about it until high school. Some people don't think you should be taught about it in school at all, that it should only be up to the parents. This entire comment, I understand that you think it's gross and unsettling, but they're not your fucking kids. Stop trying to raise everybody else's kids the way you think that their kids should be raised and let them raise their kids themselves. You could give them advice, but that doesn't mean they have to take it. I feel so bad for this woman. You make jokes about Margot Robbie thing in private or with friends. Not on your wedding day. Never is that okay. I said, he pushed a line and crossed it a few times. This isn't even the one that bothered her. The hell, like, people making something out of nothing. He 100% has emotionally abused this woman into believing she's nothing without him. Prove it. You don't know that from that clip. You're not going to know that at all from that one TikTok of those vows and her response to it. You will never know. That makes sense. How is he not unbelievably embarrassed after hearing her vows? Like, he listens to her pour her heart out, and how does he not just stand there thinking, I am a human piece of garbage? Once again, Julia, I hope you come across my video so that you can hear the difference between men and women, the way that we grow up, and the way that our thoughts work, and the way that we formulate those thoughts. That way you can understand that he was embarrassed the entire fucking time, and that was how he got through it, was by making jokes. Bry's actually way too good-hearted and attractive for this weird and creepy self. Another woman. He's reading his vows like the way an uninterested 7th grade boy reads through a copy of The Giver. Well, Kevin, welcome to deadpan comedy, deadpan humor. That's the way it's all delivered. I don't get it, but it is what it is. It's not my kind of comedy. I don't like it because you can't ever really get a feel for what's a joke and what's not. But at the same time, you watch her reaction to everything, and you can tell what is a joke and what's not because she's the one who would know. She's so beautiful, it's so sad to hear her say she's no model when, like, she absolutely could be. I agree, she could be a model. The thing is, what kind of model are you talking about? Because if you're talking about a runway model, no, she couldn't. No, she couldn't. See, you think that she could be a runway model today because you're used to people like Lizzo saying, don't worry about us, fat people get to model too. And that is fucking wild to me. The whole point of being a runway model throughout all of history has been for you to be a human hanger. You can't have boobs. You have to be a small, booby, itty-bitty, titty-committee woman with no butt, no figure. You can't have that hourglass shape. You need to literally be a shapeless woman who is at the low end, if even within range of a healthy weight, to be a runway model. She wouldn't be able to be a runway model. She could definitely be a model, but she would not be a runway model. His constant negging was horrible. I didn't see it as abusive, just him being an asshole, until she started speaking, degrading herself. I hope she gets her and her daughters out of there. Well, Cherry, his negging was literally deadpan humor. It may be going on at the house as well, which could be emotionally abusive, but we don't know if it is or not. It's a leap for everybody going, oh my god, blah, 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 blah. And it also depends on How is he going about this in conversation at home? The context at home could literally just be a joke. She could just constantly ask, hey, how do these pants make me look? How do these pants make me look? How do these pants make me look? Do I look fat in this? Do I look fat in that? And he's just finally like, well, I think you're attractive, but you're still no model. Like, he might just be tagging it on the end of constantly being nagged about dumb shit. We don't know. We have no fucking clue. That's why this is ridiculous. People want to come to this and not look at the way she's responding and give it credit. They want to instead discredit her response to his jokes as being that she's laughing at it and thinking it's funny until he goes too far over a line once in a while. And then instead of just observing that and going, okay, she thinks it's funny, so it's probably the way that they joke around with each other, everybody's decided to read into it and go, no, he's an asshole, he's abusive, because none of you have the temerity to acknowledge the fact that context matters. And we have no idea if this is said at home. I'm sure it is. I've even alluded to the fact that I'm positive that some of this is going on at home because of the way that she wrote her stuff, knowing that he was going to make comments about certain things, right? But the fact that she brought it up tells me that it's probably happening in a lighthearted way. I went to a wedding where the vows were similar to grooms on TikTok. It was vile and misogynistic, and the bride looked like she was about to cry. See, this is different. The bride looked like she was about to cry. See, that's a red flag. When you have this going on and she's about to cry, very different. This bride, not crying. This bride, not like, oh, fuck no, I'm so embarrassed, nobody knows about this. Just like, oh my God, you're talking about that. Embarrassed. It's not that big of a deal. A bunch of guests did walk out and she followed quickly after. Congratulations. It's not the same thing. It's simply not the same thing. The thing is, this guy at the wedding that they went to, whatever. So the thing is, clearly at the wedding that she went to, or he went to, Ghosty doesn't tell you anything. I'm just, thumbnail makes me think girl. So, thing is, at this wedding, this guy's probably an actual abusive asshole, and that was the last straw making her cry at her wedding. This guy didn't make her cry at all. The exact opposite. So how about we just don't compare the two unless we're going to point out the fact that they're clearly not the same. Even if the sexual jokes he made weren't wildly demeaning and objectifying, and this was just their sense of humor, sir, your mother and 2 children are in attendance. There is a time and place, and your wedding is not it. I said, I agree. Thing is, they're not your fucking kids. They clearly don't mind if their kids are around that kind of talk, because I'm sure it's happening at home. Once again, because he said it so nonchalantly at the wedding, I'm sure that he makes jokes similar at home, and that she does too. Obvious. I'm not good enough for you. I'm not attractive. I'm not good at cooking. I am honored you allowed me in your life. I need a woman who can cook. I would leave you for another more attractive woman. I'm putting you in your place at our wedding so that our support group sees you as the problem. She needs out of there. See, once again, I need a woman who can cook. This is him in guy speak saying, I can't fucking cook, and one of us needs to be able to do it. Please learn how to do it, because I can't. I would leave you for a more attractive woman. 80% of relationships, not just marriages, relationships, are ended by the woman. And they're ended by the woman because they would prefer a relationship with a different man. Are you aware of that? Good job. I'm putting you in your place at our wedding so that your support group sees you as the problem. A support group would notice if this were going on and if that was the problem. Everybody in here literally just wants to literally side with these thoughts of it's all got to be abusive, 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 get out of there, abusive. And nobody cares at all about anything beyond context of words, and they're not looking beyond that at all. Aside from, your mother and daughters are in attendance. Why is that the only thing any of these idiots are capable of observing, and nobody's capable of observing her body language and reaction to the jokes, where she is laughing? She is laughing so hard at the majority of these jokes that she can't hardly breathe. She thinks he's hilarious. I didn't think that most of those jokes were funny at all. She thought a lot of them were hilarious. Congratulations. I'm sure people are reading too far into the words that are being said and looking past everything else, because all you see on the internet anymore is, this is what narcissists are. This is how narcissists behave. This is how this group is. This is how that group is. It doesn't also mention, like, this is how an ADHD person shows affection, and it has a lot of overlap. This is how somebody who's been emotionally traumatized shows affection, and it has overlap. They don't show you that. So everybody's stuck on you. Well, you see these things, and the internet told me that that means abuse, so I'm siding with abuse. And it's just, I'm fucking mad. I somehow turned an 18-minute video into like an hour and a half. I'm so mad about it. Because like the fact that people turn this shit into he has to be abusive all the time is irritating. And it doesn't mean you're wrong to think so. It doesn't mean you're wrong to say, hey, these are some red flags. I hope she's okay. That would be fine. But to act as if because there are red flags she is immediately in danger and absolutely being abused is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous to assume that because some red flags exist, he must be this person, when there are overlap between those red flags and perfectly fine, healthy people to have a relationship with.